So today we're going to be building one of the easiest ships I've built so far, and it's a battleship. First thing that we need to do is put a fence foundation in the center of the boat. I like to set mine in the back because it makes a good snap point for the foundation we're going to put down. Just trying to get it lined up here. That looks pretty good. And the next thing we do is place a pillar. Make sure it's nice and center. Now we're going to place a pillar right on top of that motor. And this creates a snap point for the first foundation. You can see there's a couple points you can do. So I'll just start back here. And I'm just going to put a few foundations down. Then I'll pick up the fence foundation and the pillar. Put foundation down. So now we have our base layer set. Now we can start adding to the back of the boat. I'm going to put some ceilings down. And as you know, you can only put 2 ceilings down, and then you'll need a foundation. So what we can do now is add in some foundations underneath the ceilings we just placed. This will allow us to place more ceilings down, another 2. And then we'll add some more foundation underneath that. So now we should have a total of 4 ceilings past the end of the boat where the main foundations are laid. And I'm just going to put 2 ceilings down right here just to show you that the max length you're going to get off the back of the boat is like 6 foundations or 6 ceilings. And then after that, it's going to tell you that it's too far away from the platform. There you go. The structure is too far away from the platform. So we're gonna actually you can't even put like a wall down. So we're gonna delete this last ceiling, and we're gonna delete this other ceiling. I was just showing you that to show you the length that you can get out of it. But even if you tried to do it here, it would show you that it's too far past. So pick that up, pick up this ceiling, the foundation, and then what I'm going to do is lay some triangle ceilings down, and then put some triangle foundations down underneath that. Voila, triangle foundations are down. And this will allow us to put walls up at the very back of the boat without it being too far past the platform. Now we're going to put 5 triangle foundations down on the front of the boat. So the main base of the boat should be 2 rows of 3 square foundations, and then a single row of 5 triangles. Then you're gonna put 2 ceilings down, and then 2 foundations, and then you're gonna fill the next spot with 3 triangles. Foundations underneath those, and then we're going to add 1 ceiling, and we'll eventually add 1 triangle right here. And then this is pretty much as far as you can build. It'll tell you that, if I put a foundation down, it'll tell you that it's too far down or too far past the platform this way. So this is about as far as you can get on the front of the boat. And this is the shape we're looking at. This is what it should look like after it's done. At least the base of the boat. Now I'm going to switch all the foundations to block, just so it looks like it goes down a little further. Don't have these stupid gaps on the sides. And then once you've switched all those to blocks, should be a nice solid base. Not a square there. I'm gonna throw some ceilings down right here just to cover up that part of the boat, make it look more flush with the rest of the platform. Triangles here. And you'll notice I didn't cover up the actual part of the motor for the boat, because if you do, you won't be able to access it. So, just gotta pick up that ceiling, and then that'll tell you can drive it. So now we can start laying our walls down for the sides of our boat. So you're gonna do 2 high walls all the way around the ship, and that'll give us a nice base to build off of. First row done here. Start with our second row. Pretty high, just too high. Can only be too high for this. Right here I'm gonna lay down a doorway so you can get into the back of your boat. And that should complete our main walls for the ship. Now we're just gonna lay an entire row of ceilings all the way across the ship, just copying the same plan that the floor goes by. So put a couple triangle ceilings back here, and then a whole bunch of square ceilings this way. Back to triangle. Boom, 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 boom. And back to square. Whoa, back to triangles. Triangle, squares, triangle, squares. Okay. Yeah, one more here. Bam, look at that. Now we got a big floating arrow. And I'm going to use some sloped walls up here just to give the bow of the boat a little bit of a point. Make it look a little pointy. Next, I'm going to add in some railing. Or no, now we're going to put a wall on the back of the boat. Or not. Oh, whoa. A little bit glitchy on this server. Couple couple walls on the back of the boat. Then we're going to use some slope walls. That creates like a nice stern for the boat, back end of it. Make it look legit. I'm going to add a couple of ceilings here, because this is going to eventually be a platform for a turret. So we'll do a row of triangles, row of ceilings, square, and I'll add in some stairs here too, on each side. Now we're going to put railing down across the entire top of the ship here. And there's like a couple different snap points for these railings, so I'm trying to make them all look similar, nice and flat. That should finish up our railing. Oh, got one here that's a little taller. Just don't do that. There we go. Pick up this one that's wrong. Oh yeah, that's the one we want right there. Now we got something that looks more like a boat instead of a floating arrow. Now we're gonna build like the top tower portion of the ship. We're gonna start off on that first section of triangles in the front of the boat. We're gonna put a doorway down right in the center triangle. And then we're gonna add triangle ceilings going the other way. And this is gonna give us, because the base of our boat is three ceilings wide right here, three square ceilings. And when we split it up into two, it actually puts two ceilings over a three ceiling spot. It's gonna give us like a smaller railing section on the side of the boat and make it look a little cooler than just a square box. So I did triangles, did a couple ceilings. I'm gonna put some more triangles on the back of this. And I'm gonna connect this little gap because this is gonna be like a doorway eventually. So now we have triangles, ceilings, triangles. I'm gonna throw some walls down around the base of that, because the reason why we did the ceilings first, like we started with that one doorway, we did the ceilings, now we're dropping the walls down after, is because the ceilings are 2 spaces wide over an area of 3 spaces. So that gives us our snap point to put the walls down now. And we got the first section of our boat built here. At the top of it, at least. That's one wall kind of sticking up. I can get it to line up with the rest of them here. Oh yeah, that looks a lot better. Now I'm going to throw down a glass doorway and make sure it's facing the right way here. doorway. We're gonna build 2 walls out on each side. Wall here on this part. Another one on the side. So you're gonna have center doorway and 2 walls on each side. Then we're gonna switch back to metal. Throw a couple metal walls on top of those. And from here, we're gonna add in some triangle ceilings and a couple square ceilings. And then we're gonna extend, once I get this ceiling finished here, we're gonna extend it out a little further, which creates another shape over a different bottom base. So below these next spots are squares, but we're gonna throw on some triangle ceilings, and that's gonna change the shape over the top of this. So now we can add in a couple metal walls around this shape. And then we'll add in greenhouse walls below that. And this greenhouse section we're building right here is actually the, at least when I'm playing on Xbox, it's the viewpoint that you ride the boat in. So when you actually drive the boat, it sends you into like a third-person perspective farther away. And that perspective actually sits pretty much in the center of that glass area. So when you're piloting the boat, you'll actually be looking through those glass windows. So they're important. Throw a doorway down right here. Alright, so we're going to throw a couple more walls down on the back side of this part. And then we're going to put ceilings on those 3 walls, more triangle ceilings. And we're going to, again, change the shape up here so that we have a different shape going on top of a different base. So below this spot is triangle, or is a square, but we're putting triangles on top. And we're going to make it all the way to a point at the end, and then throw our walls down, and that gives us a different shape over the top of our base layer. And from here, we're going to use these 2 front triangles on this point, and we're going to throw some walls down. And this is pretty much the top pillar of this gunboat or battleship. Just barely poking it. Non-cooperative wall. This is basically just plain art. Picking up shit, placing it back down, trying to get, there's so many different snap points, especially on these floating platforms or any platform. Like, the snap points are like moving around and it's always looking glitchy and popping it into some snap point that you don't really want it. So sometimes you just have to keep picking it back up and retrying it until you finally get it. Sometimes it'll even look like it's in the right spot in the preview, and then it'll pop it into a different snap point when you place it. Hey, there we go, finally got it. That's the base start of our top pillar. And I've got 2 other battleships here. This design right here is probably the easier of the 2, just because it takes a lot less sloped triangle ceilings. That's probably the hardest piece to place on a floating platform, is those triangle ceilings, because they want to flip and flop around all over the place. This second battleship uses a lot more. It's got a slightly different style to it. Kind of just depends on which one you want to make. But this one has a lot more of those triangle ceilings that are sloped, and they're a pain in the ass. And this is the top of the platform, so you can't actually cover that hole up. It's just going to be a gaping hole. as opposed to this. We're gonna do the easier design on this one, so it should be a little cleaner looking. So we're gonna add 2 more walls to the back side of this top structure. And from there, I'm going to place a couple ceilings down just so I can get a better vantage point to finish this top section up. So I need to be a little farther back, so you can place all kinds of, other platforms in different spots just to get a good snap point, or at least a good view of the snap point. Destroy it. Same thing on this side. Put a couple ceilings down just so I can set my sloped wall. So on the front of this, we're going to do 2 sloped walls. On the back side is 2 regular walls. It's going to create kind of a point to it. Now I'm going to this on the snap point for a wall right there. So I'll put a triangle ceiling down. Now I'm gonna try and put a sloped triangle ceiling on this. You can see how it's spazzing out again. It might be impossible. Alright, so I'm gonna use some triangle ceilings here to create some supports, just so I can stand on it and get a better view of the slope triangle ceiling I'm trying to put down here. So if I can't get a triangle ceiling to sloped triangle ceiling to snap into place here. We're gonna have one pointing down to the tip of this point, and then another one pointing straight off the back of that. That's not right. There we go. Alright, so now we got one pointing down. I'll add one that goes straight up there. Like that, and then, so for the fin here, we're gonna leave that triangle. So this will have 2 triangles on one side, another 2 triangle ceilings on the other side. And these are just, cool little fins to put on. You can kind of do whatever design you want up here. And then we're gonna add a couple sloped walls to the back of this top point here. There. Another one on this side. Just like that. Perfect. Nope. How about now? Do it. Now. Oh, there we go. Finally. Oh wow, I placed 2 walls down. That's crazy. Alright, so that should complete that top point there. And now we're gonna lay down a couple we're gonna lay down 1 rocket turret and then 2 machine gun turrets. the ones that you can man yourself and shoot. One thing about the rocket turrets is you cannot fire them while the ship is moving, because the ship moves so fast and the rockets move so slow that it's pretty hard to hit anything with them. You can fire the machine gun turrets though while you're driving. You can actually shoot stuff down while you're moving with those. So that's why I add 2 of those and then only 1 rocket turret, because the rocket turret's less useful. So we'll add 1 on that mid-platform, 1 up front here. I can get it lined up correct. Yeah, sometimes it takes a bit to get these things lined up perfectly as they're so large. But yeah, you can get it close, good enough. Sometimes I just have to be particular about it, get it real lined up. I think that looks decent. Then we'll add 1 more turret in the back here. All right, and those are the, well, I guess no, that's not right. Yeah, this could be better, I think. More time, a little more center on it. Looks pretty good. Center enough. And I think the last thing we'll do here to finish up our boat is we're going to add some stairs. So I like to throw a stair down on the back of the boat so you can get in from out of the water onto the boat. And we're also going to add some stairs that go from inside the main cabin up into the top cabin area. So I'm going to throw 1 on the, basically the ceiling above where the driving boat is. Throw a stair coming off of that. And I'll break these ceilings here so we can actually get into it without having too much hassle. So that'll bring you right into the mid cabin up here. And these doors we put up here earlier bring us out onto the main deck. And these stairs in this door back here bring us into the viewpoint. That should complete our vessel. Well, I guess we can go take this out for a spin and check it out. Maybe we can go do some shooting too and see what we can't kill with this battleship. Battleship that don't battle in the battleship, right? But this is the viewpoint that you'll be piloting the ship from. I'm gonna crash it right into the land. But it gives it a decent viewpoint. Some giant ships you build will be super hard to see out of. This one's not too bad. It's always fun to throw it into orbital view too and get a better vantage point.